Hello, my name is Morten Winter, and I'm responsible for the daily management of the Danish Maritime Occupational Health Service. With the help of this video, we'll try to tell you something about how you can organize safety and health measures on board your ship. Many changes are occurring at present in the Danish merchant marine. First and foremost, due to the greater competition for work and cargoes. Competition that's becoming more and more ruthless. Only the strongest survive. This holds true of both merchant seamen and ship owners, and means that speed and efficiency are on the increase. The romance connected with a life at sea in former times is now difficult to discover. All this means that there is no longer room for mistakes, neither human nor economic. Good quality is becoming more and more decisive. Timetables must be kept to. Passengers and cargoes must arrive on time and without the risk of accidents. Safety has become decisive. Accidents must be avoided. They cost pain, lives, and money. Not only the catastrophe that makes the front pages of newspapers, but also the industrial injury, which means that a seaman must take sick leave. All parties therefore have a joint interest in preventing accidents and illness on board ship. This is the reason why many new shipboard rules are appearing. Some of them concern the working environment, because the safety of the ship and the health of the seamen are two sides of the same coin. All work on board ship must be carried out with due attention to safety and health. And for the same reason, a safety organization is now being established on all ships to make sure that everything is done safely. But handling the job requires training and is known as Paragraph 16 training. The course takes 32 hours and typically takes place ashore. Work leaders and safety representatives must attend such a course at the earliest possible moment. But there's often a waiting list. This distance teaching package has therefore been put together so that those of you who are in the safety group on board can gain a first impression of what your job involves when it comes to the working environment. The distance teaching package consists of 4 sections and also includes some exercises. The first section is about the new rules for safety precautions on board ship. The second section concerns everyday tasks. The third tells you how to work systematically. And finally, the fourth section is about how to prepare a plan of action for work on board. The idea is to give you an impression of the possibilities behind the new rules. The purpose is to make a proper working environment a more natural part of the everyday functions on board. Not to make things more difficult for the crew, but to make sure that nobody comes to harm because of his or her work, neither in the short nor the long term.
Når man arbejder, har man brug for en værktøjskasse.
When you're doing a job, you need a toolbox with the right tools. When it comes to the working environment, your toolbox is this video, the accompanying workbook, rules and guidelines from the Danish Maritime Authority and the Danish Maritime Occupational Health Service, as well as manuals and possibly handbooks. There is a list of all relevant material on page 20 of the workbook. If there are questions which you can't find the answers to on board, the Danish Maritime Occupational Health Service is at your disposal, free of charge. This is an independent consultancy service for the entire merchant marine and functions completely independently of the Danish Maritime Authority. We have the necessary experts who are familiar with the working environment and the current rules. So you are always welcome to contact us if you need a concrete solution or simply some good advice. Our fax and telephone numbers are on page 7 of the workbook. There are big and small ships, cargo ships and passenger ships. Many problems are common to all shipping, but there are also differences. The safety group must therefore be adapted to the crew on board. Only if the permanent crew is 3 or less is it unnecessary to establish a safety group. Regulations for passenger ships are usually determined by the permanent crew. On smaller passenger ships, with crews of from 4 to 14, 1 safety representative and 1 work leader must be elected. They make up a safety group and, together with the master, constitute a safety committee. With bigger ships with permanent crews of more than 14, a safety group must be elected for each work area. In such cases, the safety committee coordinates the work under the leadership of the master. But passenger ships differ so much that in certain cases it may be possible for special arrangements to be made, subject to agreement with the Danish Maritime Authority. Things are simpler on cargo ships. If the permanent crew is between 4 and 14, 1 safety group is established by electing a safety representative from among the ordinary crew and appointing a work leader from among the officers. The master is the chairman of the ship's safety committee. If the permanent crew is more than 14, there must be 2 safety groups on board, which, together with the master, comprise the safety committee. The task of the safety group is to check that work is carried out safely and without endangering health. The group should encourage individuals to make an active effort by increasing their awareness of health conditions through suggesting ways of improving things, for example. This demands mutual goodwill and good cooperation with the ship owners who are responsible for the timetable and economic framework. With the master, who must take the job seriously, and with the crew, who must follow the guidelines necessary to ensure that work is done safely and without health hazards. This means that everybody has a responsibility for creating a good working environment. On page 9 of the workbook there are 2 exercises which complete the first section. See how far you can get with them before going on to section 2.
Et gammelt ordsprog siger,
An old proverb says that the devil finds work for idle hands, and people do benefit by having something to do. Physical work is good for the body, and for most people, challenges which need thinking about are also good. So we're not thinking about abolishing work. On the contrary, we're always on the lookout for good workplaces. And they can fortunately be found, also at sea. On the other hand, there's something wrong if work becomes a burden. The back can be physically harmed by carrying things which are too heavy. We can also be harmed mentally if the working day is too long and rest periods too short. These things are a danger both for safety, quality and health. Ship owners and employees therefore have a common interest in proper conditions on board ship. The law tells us that work on a ship must be organized with due attention to safety and health. For most people, this is not very precise, and the word should therefore be taken as a declaration of intention. But they do emphasize the seriousness of the priority that the everyday working environment at sea has been given. Industrial accidents can no longer be accepted. Nor can it be accepted that people become ill because they're doing their job. Work should not produce unpleasant side effects either, and certainly not if they can be easily avoided. Finally, it's a good idea to make efforts to promote a feeling of well-being, and if work goes well and easily, then it's almost certainly being done properly. But things are hardly this rosy on board any Danish ship. It's a workplace, and we must compete on an increasingly ruthless market, but naturally not at the cost of employees' health. The Safety Committee and the Safety Group must therefore play an active role by influencing working conditions on board ship. In the safety group, we work in such a way that if we feel or find out that something's wrong, that there's a problem somewhere or other on the ship, it might be slippery or need marking off, something or other, we tell the safety representative or one of them, and it's taken up at the next meeting. And possibly something that must be done straight away. And something is generally done about it on the spot. This is a little ship, of course, so it's a short process. So if there's something to talk about, it's not necessary to make a mountain out of a molehill. The safety committee seems very professional. Something should preferably be done straight away if the problem is a slippery deck, or a lighter that isn't secure, or something like that. Action should be taken immediately. So the work of the Safety Committee involves more than just counting the number of industrial accidents. It's important for work to be done systematically. At meetings, there must therefore be a fixed agenda so that nothing is overlooked or forgotten. Neither noise, chemicals, working positions, working tempo, or risks. It is an advantage to take the deck, the machines and a galley separately. But it's not certain that the way we usually do things is best, nor when it comes to safety measures. The Safety Committee holds meetings every 3 months, or more often if needed. The Safety Group, on the other hand, need not hold formal meetings. This is where cooperation on a daily basis comes in. But as the crew is constantly changing, it's an advantage to keep a little logbook to note down the things that the Safety Group has done. This helps to give continuity to the work. Now we must get started. But how? Well, first it's a good idea to read up on the minutes of previous meetings and any accident reports, to gain an idea of what the Safety Committee has done up to now. But it's also possible to ask colleagues what they feel is good or bad about their everyday work. This gives you a foundation to build on. Most people think of the risk of accidents when thinking about the working environment, but much more than that is involved. This can only be seen clearly when safety and health are taken seriously. Then it's possible to see how things are connected. This means that a change of attitude is necessary. Talking about the working environment, well, we all use hearing protectors today, and it was quite a job to get people used to the idea. It's no problem today. Everybody uses them. But 10, 15, 20 years ago, you were almost a laughingstock if you used them. Now it's the case on board that we can offer hearing protectors to everyone, also maintenance people and guests who turn up. Or we have earplugs, so there's no risk of damaging your hearing. Now the problem of getting people to use hearing protectors has been solved because everybody uses them. Now there's more attention paid to using masks when people are painting. If people remember to use safety glasses when they're grinding and all that sort of thing. And I think we're pretty good at reminding each other about it if there's somebody painting without a mask or somebody using a grinder. And when you're welding, you must remember to start a ventilator. It's things like that that help to make the working environment better and give you a better working day. Protective equipment is not for fun. Instructions have a purpose. Don't take the easy way out. The safety group are the people who must set a good example and show that nobody is a sissy because he wears gloves and a hard hat. Look at exercise 2 before going on to the third section. Now we'll see how the safety group can do its work in a good, systematic way. It involves gaining an overall view of things. Where is work done on board and with what? Is there a well-known or a hidden risk in the jobs you do on this ship? All significant job functions must be evaluated. This is called a risk evaluation, an evaluation of the workplace. The idea is to see what effects are produced if you want to avoid something going wrong. Prevention is all about predicting a risk. This is why there is rescue and firefighting equipment on board a ship as a matter of course. But at the moment we're looking at the working environment in a broad sense. The reason why we must evaluate risks is that everything is connected like the pieces in a jigsaw puzzle. The employee is one piece, his tools and machines are others. He or she uses methods and some chemical materials which are also pieces of the puzzle. And everything is taking place on board a ship, perhaps in a heavy sea. All these many pieces must be placed correctly to form a synthesis. In one ship I was on, there was a mate who was run over and killed. When we found him, he was lying under those twin wheels. The twin wheels on a trailer. We don't really know how he got there, but he must have been standing behind the trailer, and it started reversing because it was something to do with the ramp was supposed to be lifted from the lower trailer deck to the upper deck. And because he had to get the trailer back there, the ramp had to be up, and then he started to reverse, and then, well, you see, he was on his own up there, the mate, so we don't really know how it happened. When we talk about a risk, we usually think about accidents. How often does something go wrong? And what happens when it does? Shipwrecks are rare, but serious. A sprained ankle is common, but we get over it. Risks are therefore connected with probability and consequences. When we do something, we try to reduce the probability that something will go wrong, or we limit the consequences of the damage, or perhaps both at the same time.